Hello, I'm Kamali, taking you through the stories people are talking about and sharing around the world on Newsfeed today. Malala Yousafzai almost assassinated, now a UN ambassador for women and girls, known worldwide. So why did she have to sneak back into her own country under heavy security? Donald Glover leaks his cancelled unfinished work on a TV show based on the film Deadpool, and the internet asks why it wasn't made. The Nigerian president gets an award, or does he? And male grooming questions asked by a basketball player on Twitter. 500,000 help Anthony Davis decide what to do with his eyebrows. All right, well, the top of the newsfeed is Malala Yousafzai, the Nobel Prize winner who was shot and nearly killed by the Taliban in 2012 after demanding that girls be allowed to get an education, is back in Pakistan for the first time. And it's not a moment of celebration. Malala, now 20, is revered by millions around the world, but also vilified by millions. I said her name in the newsroom this morning and got reactions that ran the gamut, from raised eyebrows to thumbs up to good for her to she is so annoying, to people saying that she's a CIA operative. Now, how can someone who, on the face of it, we should all respect, be so divisive? Well, she is under heavy security while in Pakistan. Her itinerary is pretty secret, and she will not go back to her hometown, and people there are glad. They don't want her there. Well, Sitara Jabin is from Malala's home province. Sitara, just why is Malala's visits to Pakistan quite so contentious, and why can't she go back to her hometown?
Because she's a hero, and as happens with most heroes, at least in Pakistan, you always become a controversial figure in the end, no matter who you are, what you do. And in her case, it's even more special because she's a young girl, because she stood up to the Taliban, who at the time had actually subdued a vast majority in a part of Pakistan. So anybody who stands up to what is not the norm, and of course, she's bound to be controversial, because all those lobbies that are continuously radicalizing Pakistan and dominate the young minds, especially in the rural areas of the country, they went against her full force. But then there's also a big majority of people like me, my friends, a big community in Pakistan that adores her, that loves her, and we're very happy that she's back.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm a fan of hers, but as I said, in the newsroom, it's a bit of a mixed opinion. Now, as I mentioned, you're from the same province as her, and we were speaking earlier, you were telling me a story about sort of the area. Just give us that description again of people having Facebook but no water.
Yes, so this is what Pakistan is today. So my own village, I come from a tiny village in Abbottabad. So until very recently, my village didn't have any drinking water, but people had Facebook. And you would see those very young boys, going around with their smartphones, because telecommunication is very cheap and accessible in Pakistan. So you would see that they browse through their Facebook all day long, and whatever appears on the feed. Imagine a population that has been cut off from the mainstream of the country for a very long time, and for the first time, these young people find themselves connected live or directly with let's say, ministers appearing on live talk shows, or debates happening on Facebook and other social media platforms. So this is an untapped expansion of information and social media in Pakistan, and unfortunately, this space is captured very, I would say, very quickly by the radicals, unfortunately. And the liberal voices also exist, and they're growing too, but they still have to come up to speed, where they can reach out to every part of the country and connect with all the young people out there who still see anything liberal as Western as bad.
I mean, you say, unfortunately, of course, we're in this world now where for a week we've been talking about fake news on Facebook, and there have been sort of fake rumours about Malala, which is why it's so concerning that she can't go back to her hometown, to her home village, and why there's this sort of difference of opinion of exactly who she is and what she's trying to do.
Yeah. I mean, what annoys me the most, okay, she comes from the rural part of Pakistan, so I'm not surprised that she faces this criticism back home. But what is really bizarre is the opposition and all the conspiracy theories that the educated people, the liberal people who are very well informed, very well educated, they also believe, I mean, a vast majority of them also buys this narrative that she is working for CIA or whatever, or why did she get all the fame? What has she done for Pakistan? How is she different from any other victims that Pakistan has had over the last few years? But I would say that at the end of the day, I don't know why those people don't realize that Pakistan is a country. We are a non-NATO ally of the US. We are working with the US at so many different levels, our military, civilian, government, everyone at every level. There is a collaboration at the level of societies as well. The US drones come and kill Osama bin Laden in my hometown in Abbottabad. And that seems to be fine. But then if a girl stands up and talks about education, suddenly she becomes a CIA agent who is bringing shame to the country or something like that. So yeah, this is the irony. But I'm happy that there are still those voices who see her as an asset, and we still believe that she's our daughter and she's very welcome to come back home. But it's very, very unfortunate that she feels unsafe in her own hometown.
Absolutely.
I mean, she can't even go there.
She can't go there. Satara, we're glad you'll stand behind her, and I stand behind Malala too. All right, thank you for now. And Malala was calling for things and continues to call for things like this. Now, you remember this image from last week. This is Jahad Ahmadi, and this picture was taken while she was passing an exam to get into university in Afghanistan. She's from a tiny village and had to travel 8 hours to take her test. Her family can't afford her school fees, so the internet stepped in, and a GoFundMe page has now raised more than £11,000, enough for her entire tuition. A journalist caught up with her and asked her about studying while being a mother.
It depends on a person's economic situation. Some friends say that if there is assistance and support, it is better to study here in Kabul. I got accepted by the Nasser Khosrow University. The schedule is only 2 days a week on Thursdays and Fridays. It is difficult for me to travel from the village to the university.
Those kids do not care. The camera's on. Let's have a look at what else is trending on social media.
They are opinionated, they're arrogant, and they're just plain and simple.
Well, that woman was jailed for hate speech in South Africa. Her name is Vicky Momberg, and she was sentenced to 3 years with 1 year suspended. It's said to be the first time that verbal racial abuse has been punished with jail time in South Africa. Donald Glover has been writing a series for FX based on the Marvel character Deadpool, but the project was dropped. Marvel and FX said it was due to Glover being too busy, but he posted the script for the first episode and wrote, "For the record, I wasn't too busy." And in the episode, Deadpool references the show's cancellation, saying, "Do you think they cancelled the show because of racism? Yeah, but all the writers were black. And the references were pretty black too. Maybe we were alienating our white audience. No, we did a whole goat yoga episode." Now, the president of Nigeria, Muhammadu Buhari, has been given a prestigious, much-coveted award. Or has he? Well, this is the tweet from the official Nigerian government account. It says, "Today at the presidential villa, President Buhari received Martin Luther King Jr.'s family and was conferred the first Black History Month National Black Excellence and Exceptional African Leadership Award 2018. Well, TRT World's Africa producer Usman Ali Uba is across this. So, Usman, first off, what was the response to that tweet?
It's a huge embarrassment, isn't it, Kamal? I mean, not only to the Nigerian president, but for also the entire nation, indeed. And we've seen a lot of reaction coming in from the King Center and from Nigerians as well. Well, it all starts with this tweet posted by the presidency earlier this week that the King Center, which is sort of a memorial, established to inspire good governance across the world, presented this award to the Nigerian president for his fight or ongoing fight against corruption. However, the King Center now debunked or disowned this award, that it wasn't presented to Buhari in the name of the center or in the name of the family members. Again, it's a detriment, unfortunate, to the detriment of common sense that the center is debunking the award, and the Nigerian presidency also recently saying it wasn't actually presented by the family member, but by the so-called matriarch of the family member. Yes.
It's all very confusing, isn't it? And of course, Twitter in Nigeria has been going nuts about this. But it's not the first time in the past sort of month or so that President Buhari has embarrassed himself on social media.
Indeed, Kamali, and that's why lots of Nigerians are also reacting that the president is not totally unaware of things around him. I mean, he's been hijacked by the cabals, the so-called cabal, which particularly the critics and the opposition are saying, look, you are not fit to rule the country. Of course, you delivered a lot of promises, and since when you came to office, you know, a small portion of the promises has been achieved, and he has a lot to do, particularly in the ongoing fight against corruption. Recently, we've seen the ranking by the Transparency International, which has 12-point drop from the previous ranking of Nigerians' corruption index. So Buhari, yes.
Absolutely. And there's an election coming up in a year or so's time. Will Buhari be running, do you think?
Well, outspokenly, the president hasn't officially pronounced that he's going to there's a contest for the next year election. However, we've seen lots of campaign. As I am speaking now, he is visiting the largest metropolis of Nigeria, which is Lagos, still campaigning and commissioning infrastructure. So he is campaigning. However, he hasn't pronounced he is going to contest. And the majority of the perception of Nigerians is that he is going to contest for next year. But he has a lot, of course, to do.
Absolutely. We'll wait and see, and hopefully he'll stay off Twitter. Usman, thank you very much for now. All right, let me take you around the world for some other stories you need to know this Thursday. Apparently, the shooting of unarmed black men by the police in the United States is not a national problem. So says the White House Press Secretary Sarah Huckabee Sanders. She says it's an issue for individual states and not for the federal government. Well, stats from the Washington Post say that 253 people have been shot by police in the United States in 2018. Of those, 43 were black, and of those, 3 were unarmed.
So I'm not going to Dubai. Let them kill me. That's fine.
We showed you this video from Facebook a couple of days ago of a Kenyan politician fighting his deportation to the UAE. Well, update, he was eventually sent to Dubai and is there currently. He was deported from Kenya for his role in the unofficial swearing-in of Raila Odinga as Kenya's unofficial president at the start of the year. And in a beautiful twist of irony, the Ecuadorian embassy has cut Julian Assange's internet access. The man given asylum at the embassy in London to escape charges in the US over his leaking of CIA documents on his website WikiLeaks has apparently violated a commitment he made to Ecuador and has put the country's relations with the United Kingdom at risk because of his tweets. Now, Assange tweeted on Monday that he didn't believe Russia was behind the poisoning of a former double agent in Britain a few weeks ago. Britain and most of the world blame Russia. Lawyers representing the rapper DMX played one of his tunes, Slippin', as part of his defense over tax evasion charges. The judge sentenced DMX, real name Earl Simmons, to a year in prison. His lawyer compared the lyrics in DMX's songs to the poetry of Keats and Byron. And NASA have announced their latest mission will launch in the summer and will touch the sun. It's called the Parker Solar Probe and will make it to the sun's outer corona. Now, what did the 5 fingers say to the face? Slap! That's what a congressman in Peru got. He was asked by a woman during a press conference, "How much money do you have?" And he responded, "A lot, a lot." So she slapped him and was quickly taken away by the police. No news yet if she's been charged. She gets him a good one. And should I shave my brow? That's what Anthony Davis asked Twitter, and the internet had its say. Just so you know, Davis is a forward for the New Orleans Pelicans, and his monobrow, as you can see, is the stuff dreams, bad ones, are made of. Well, the poll had more than 500,000 respondents, and as you can see, it's just in favour of shave, 51 to 49. Now, whether that's enough to convince him to shave is unknown right now. We'll find out in a few hours, but I have a better suggestion. How about you pluck it? I understand that gives a better result. For the record, I neither shave nor pluck these brows. That's all from the Newsfeed team. Do reach out to me with your questions, comments, complaints and suggestions. I'm at Kamali Melbourne. We're 24/7 on YouTube, Facebook and Twitter. Follow, subscribe and add, and I will see you again tomorrow.